And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I am Michael DeLon. Today I'm talking with Dan Kachtik. Dan, thanks, man, for being with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, you are welcome. It's going to be a great conversation. Dan has been in the fitness industry for a really long time, runs a CrossFit center down in Texas. And but it's so much more than that. And what we're going to talk about is really how do you build strong communities through fitness, both in the gym, out the gym, and really get a better lifestyle overall. That's what we're going to dive into. So, Dan, as we jump into that pool, tell me, how in the world did you get doing what you're doing today?
Okay, so I was very much, I think, destined to be in this kind of a career. I have always been a bit of a gym rat. My father always worked out, and I remember asking him, when can I get started on this kind of stuff? And he was never a big gym goer himself, but he always worked out. And so I just gravitated to that. And then I played sports, but beyond that, I just frankly liked being in the gym and working out. And so going to school, I went to school for sports medicine, no intending to go down that road. I got sidetracked. Frankly, I worked at the Board of Options as a trader for a few years in my 20s. This was in Chicago, so a very different career,
Wow.
and learned a lot from it and thought it was cool that I could do it for a while. But then a couple years into it, realized this job brings no meaning to my life. And
Mm,
so I stepped back out of that and started doing personal training, which is what I'd intended to do.
okay.
And I was uh, I enjoyed personal training. I was frankly very successful at it. I was in Chicago at the time. I'm doing a great job, but it was on a one-on-one basis, which I like and I thrive on. But I knew the biggest thing was training people was getting them to consistently work out. And how do I solve this problem? Or how do I
Yeah.
address this problem? And I got exposed to CrossFit in 2007 and then got certified with them in 2008. And I immediately knew this is what I'm looking for. I will eventually own a CrossFit gym. I'm from Texas, so I wanted to get back down to Texas. So my wife and I moved down here in 2011 and then opened up. I worked for a global gym. I was working at Lifetime at the time.
Yeah.
And then we branched out on our own, put everything we had into this basket, like bet the farm and everything else on this, and opened up our own CrossFit gym in 2013. And then here we are, 12 years later, still doing the same thing.
That's awesome. Love that story. And your passion for it obviously exudes, right? And that's what I love. So I want to dive in because helping people understand, I mean, fitness and health clubs and all of that stuff are important. And New Year's are coming, and people join them, and they stop going, and they're about as consistent as they are on a diet most of the time, right?
You're
But
absolutely right. It's
I think
short-lived.
you've kind of developed a different community feel that really transitions that to a different level. Talk about what you've got going on and how you're approaching fitness and well-being.
So yes, to your point, people want to do this. They know they should, but just like diet, you're right. It is very hard to find a way that works for you that's sustainable for your extended life. And I don't care if you were super fit for 6 months or 2 years of your life in your 20s. I want you to have a high level of fitness, be a healthy person for your whole life. It makes everything about your life better, your quality of life, your ability to do stuff. You can achieve more because there's so much. It's not just that my tendons and ligaments and muscles are stronger. You have a more strong personality. Mentally, you are more fit. You have more resiliency. And so it's how do people want this, but how do I get them to do it? And the beautiful thing about a CrossFit gym is one, we work really hard and we use a lot of different implements. And I say the difference with how we train than going to like a regular gym. If you're doing a bicep curl machine or a leg press machine, you're working those muscles, but you aren't getting more athletic. And so much of life is an athletic endeavor, whether I'm chasing a runaway grocery cart, picking up my kids, reorganizing the garage, whatever I'm doing, these are athletic endeavors. And the way we work out gets you prepared for life's challenges, whatever they may be, whatever you want to go on a hike, you want to go on a bike ride with your family, whatever the case may be. That's how we train. So I think it is the most effective way to work out from a functional standpoint of this is going to help me do whatever else I want to do outside the gym. But
Yeah.
how do I get people to come in, basically at least 3 times a week? More than that if it's great, but 3 times a week, you're making progress, you're getting forward. And the key to that is the community that we build.
Mm.
When you come and you're in these environments where you're working really hard and you're laying on the floor panting by the end of a workout, it's a very authentic, raw kind of environment. And you end up getting to know the people that, I go to the 8:30 class. So you just know those people in the 8:30 class. And what's beautiful about it, people come from all different walks of life, all different backgrounds, but they're spending their money and putting in their time and working hard because they know this is something I want to do for myself. And so they're kind of on the same journey together. And then through that, you naturally develop these friendships, relationships that I think the gym becomes for a lot of people, other than at home, the most important place for them to be in their life, even more than work or anything like that. And what I pride myself on as a measurable, we have a very high uh, per member average attendance on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis. And it's something
Mm.
I really strive for because to me, that's my measure of success is people, I'm providing a service, they're paying for it, but they are getting what they're paying for. I am making them more fit. And I was just at a member's art show last night. On Saturday, we were at a member's wedding. These people end up becoming the people that you hang out with outside the gym. And so when you don't show up, you're getting a text, hey, where you been? I haven't seen you in a little while. And that doesn't happen if you're going to Lifetime or Golds or anything like that. And not that's not their goal. They're going to provide a lot of equipment. You come do what you want. Great. Here you're part of a community. We call it a family a lot of times. You're part of a group of people that know if you're doing good or if you're not doing as good. They know what's going on in your life. And I see people that have never been able to sustain any other way of working out do this year over year over year. And we have probably 60 members that have been with us 10 years or longer. And
Wow.
we have probably on top of that, if you look at, I've got about 170 members. We've got over 100 that have been with us over 3 years. So people, once they join and kind of drink the Kool-Aid, they stay with us long term because they're getting, and it makes me feel really good about I'm giving them what they're looking for. They have to do the work. I can show you the path. They have to do
Right.
the hard work, and good on them for doing it and showing up. But they don't have to think about the workout. They don't have to, what am I going to do today? I show up, I work hard on what's on the whiteboard, and I go about my business and I have fun doing it. And I see when people do this and then they move or something changes and they go back to the other way of working out. For better or worse, it's pretty boring and it's
Yeah.
very hard for them to stay with it because this is once you've gotten into this, it's hard to want to do anything else and that fills that niche.
Yeah, that's really interesting because what you're talking about, what I discerned is common experiences. They come together at the 8:30 class
Right.
or the 6 a.m. class or whatever,
Yep.
and I've got a consistent group that's there. We meet regular. I mean, 3 times a week is pretty regular,
Yeah.
and
Agreed.
and it's almost like a mini like football team or something. You get together, you
Yeah.
build relationships, right? Am I getting that?
You're totally right. We've jokingly called it's like your local biker gang or something like that. But
Yeah.
same idea in the fact that like you're part of this group. We all have the same T-shirts or the same hats. People wear that with a lot of pride. And when I frankly, that's what I view as my marketing is I take care of my members. They know they are important to me, that I am doing the best job I can by them. And so when we have shirts or hats or whatever other gear we have with our logo on it, those people are my advertisement out there in the world. And I want them to be proud of the gym they're a part of. And I'm happy to say they are proud of the gym. Like whenever we get something new in that line, it sells out immediately because people want to represent. I'm part of King William District CrossFit. And so, yeah, that it just really, it becomes so much more than just, I'm going to go ride the bike for an hour or I'm going to go do legs today. It is so much beyond that with what we're doing. And I think the benefits too are so much more all encompassing. You have a better, more rich social life. You're going to meet people that may come and you can connect with professionally. I have two members that now own a restaurant together and are very successful that met at our gym and ended up starting a business together. And that was 7, 8 years ago. And they have a very successful restaurant going. So it's just cool to see how that develops.
Yeah, very much so. Identity is the word that came to me when you were talking about that. You've created an identity. I mean, dare I say it's very much like Starbucks, right? Why do
Yep.
we pay $5 for a dumb cup of coffee that should cost 30 cents? Because it says Starbucks. And when I carry that around, I am identifying as something. Or our family, we are a Mac family. We're an Apple family, right? And I've
Right.
got it on my car, and because it's part of who I am and things. And that's kind of what you said is your little tribe there. It's an
Yeah.
identity, and people say, "Hey, come and see, right? And
You're exactly right. I love the fact that you use the word tribe, because that is kind of what it feels like in that sense, is that this is becomes very much a part of who I am. I am a CrossFitter. I go to King William District CrossFits, and it's been funny again and jokingly with people. People call CrossFit a cult, and I embrace that in a lot of ways. It's fun because it becomes very much this is part of who I am, part of like what I become, and the other people that are with me, they get that. They get me on that journey.
yeah, yeah, really, and using cult in a very good way, because it's not,
Yeah,
it's not, it
yeah.
doesn't always have to be a bad thing, right?
No, I
And
agree with you. Yeah.
it's just people, having people who are like-minded after a same thing. And I really love the fact that you're delivering the outcome that they signed up for, which is physical health, and in that process, they're experiencing and gaining other benefits that are tangential to what they're paying for.
That's exactly right. This is why, yeah, I mean, what I like about what I did when I was at Lifetime and other gyms, and those are big businesses that I felt like, there was a lot of pressure to sell grandma the latest supplement and sell this super fancy watch that did not think was helping them on their journey. When you're at the gym with us, we're going to charge a regular fee for it. You're going to come, but yes, you're getting more than what you pay for, in my opinion. I feel very good about all that comes with what you're getting. Because, yeah, one, I know I'm going to make you more fit. If you just come to class, I'm going to make you more healthy and everything, like lower your blood pressure, lower your resting blood sugar, increase your recovery rate. Just I could go on the list of things that are benefited from it. But yes, you're also going to be a stronger mental person. I think you're going to achieve more in life. You're going to have, a richer social life. You're going to have a better relationship with your spouse. I very much encourage, as soon as I get one spouse, I'm trying to get the other, because
Yeah.
I want them to be on this journey together and share it. They're going to stay with it longer. And then it becomes very much a bonding thing that they get. This is important to me. This is something I have emotion tied into that I'm putting a lot of effort in. And they get that with each other. And I really love how that kind of snowballs and gets bigger for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, how many do you just have the place in Texas? Are you franchising, or is this a concept that's around the nation? Because you said people move and they're like, how do other people find a place like yours without
So
moving to
again,
Texas?
there are a lot of CrossFit gyms.
Right.
We're not technically franchises. It's much more we're called affiliates. So we use the name, but then what we do in our gym, I have very much total autonomy to do what I want. I could be doing Pilates in there, which Pilates is
Okay.
great, but I could really be doing anything I want. So that's why each CrossFit gym very much has its own personality. That's why I'd compare it to like a biker gang, because there's a lot of them here in San Antonio. I know a lot of the other owners, and it each one, you kind of take on a certain personality because of the area, because of the owner, because of the coaches, however that develops. And you may find one that fits better with your personality than others. And I like that. There needs to be some changes, some individual feelings to each
Right.
gym so that you have those differences. For us, from a physical standpoint, we also do what I call functional feeding. So we work with people on diet, and that we do with people all over the country because
Yeah.
we can do that remotely. The gym itself, my goal forever is to have a very busy, very successful CrossFit gym here, because going back to what we've been saying, that community is something I think that is very hard to replicate and still be authentic with it. For better or worse, I need to be in here and present to make this gym feel how it is. And so I've run other gyms before while I've done this. I've run other people's CrossFit gyms, and you can make it successful, but it's going to have a different feel.
Right.
So when people go to other places, I'll call other CrossFit owners and try and help them have a soft landing, try and get a good place for them. You're going to want a place, one, that you're going to get coaching. Two, when you walk in, somebody should be walking up to you, introducing themselves and making you feel welcome. When you jump into class, especially when you're new, I compare CrossFit to a chainsaw. It's a great tool, but it's a powerful tool. And you need to start slow, start light, and learn the movements we do safely. And then you can worry about going faster and adding weight down the road. And so when you go to a CrossFit gym, I think it needs to be respected in that way. And people, it has an intimidating connotation, but everybody can do it. My mother-in-law is in the gym. We have 70-year-olds and 14-year-olds, all different walks of life, people that
Wow.
come in that have never done anything else at all working out. And now they've been with me for years, and we're getting new ones now. So anybody can do it. Not everybody likes to work this hard. And I'll be frank, it's that's why I don't think it'll never be for everyone, but anyone
Right.
can do it, is what I'll say. Uh, and then, yeah, my goal, I really do view this as my flock, and I just want to help them live a full life. And seeing people that I have that are 10 years older, and I've seen them go from single to married to now have kids, and they're more fit now than they were when I met them. And I love, man, been doing this for a long time, and I'm more enthusiastic about it now than I was when I started, because it's
I,
just
I, I
very
would
fulfilling.
I would never have guessed, man.
Yeah,
You got to amp it up just a little bit now, Dan. Come on.
right.
I love it. I love it. So how do I mean, I'm listening to this. I'm like, okay, this is great for people like me who are thinking about exercise and all that other stuff to go, okay, what do I need to do? Because going to a gym just has never enticed me. Doing something like this is like, maybe that could help me get over the hurdle. But also I'm thinking of like fit, gyms, people who own CrossFit gyms or are thinking about it, thinking about this industry. You're a visionary who's not only just the visionary, but you've put rubber to the road and said, this is how I do it. You don't need to replicate my model, but I think the owner of that gym needs to have a vision of how you've built a community. And I think that to me is probably, dare I say, this may be blasphemy, more important philosophy wise than the CrossFit aspect. They both
You're
have to
right.
be together,
No,
but
that's you're right.
is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, the workout, I do the programming at my gym. There are other gyms that buy the programming, and programming may be better or worse.
Yeah.
And there's variance in that. But if you're not coming, I don't care if it's the best program in the world, you're not doing it, so you're not going. So what's more important is getting them into the gym consistently. And if they're there, varying by degrees, they're going to get better. They're going to get
Yeah.
better. And so you're right. That building that community that people want to be a part of and come to the gym is the most critical factor by
Yeah.
far. And what I'll say for me is what I think you need to, as an owner does, you can't, there's a couple things, and it's hard, as a business owner, but you have to make decisions on what is best for your community in the gym, not always what is best for the bottom line.
Yeah.
And again, you have to survive, so you can't be too frivolous with that. But at the same time, I make decisions, and my members know this over time, that they know I'm doing what's best for our community. And if that sometimes means I don't make as much money, that's what I'm going to do. And it is, I believe that over time I will get the benefit of that
Oh,
by their
without question.
consistency. And it has played out that way. We've survived COVID. I had to build a new building, all kinds of hurdles we've had to cross that I've seen other gyms not survive. And we've survived through those things. And I try as much as possible. And again, that's why I like a smaller gym. I know all my members' names. I have all their phone numbers. If there's ever a chance, if there's a point at which we need to have a talk about something, I'm going to do that in person. I try
Yeah.
to have as many in-person talks as I can have. If, text is fine, email's fine, but I want to have individual interactions. And while it keeps me busy, I love what I do. And you build those relationships and that trust that make people know that they are important, that I am listening to them, that they're a part of something that's important. And I listen to their feedback. I listen to how they're doing. I know if they're doing better or worse, and not just me, but the other people in the gym. And that's what keeps people staying with us year after year and keeps them coming to class. And so for what my model is, I don't look to automate a lot of things. I look
Yeah.
to keep things as human as possible. Now that I get for bigger businesses, that's not always something you can
Right.
replicate. So it has a size limit for that. But for what I'm doing on that side, that's how it is very much. If you own a CrossFit gym, you better love it. Like this isn't a gas station. You're going to be there a lot. You're going to be present, and people are going to tell if you don't care, and they're not going to stay with you. Like people aren't dumb. They're going to figure that out over time.
That's
And
right.
on the diet side, we do a functional feeding thing where we work with diet, because that is honestly, I'll get people in the gym. What they do the other 23 hours and what they put in their mouth is so much more important.
It
And
is.
that is a continual challenge. But we work with a lot of people. We use an app and go online, and they're getting feedback 3 to 4 times a day on that. So that's been very successful. That you can do more remotely and is more replicable. But the gym itself is a very human interaction kind of business.
I love it. I love it, man. I got 5 or 6 other questions I'd love to dive into if we had time, but how do we, this has been super helpful. I mean, what you're talking about, Dan, is applicable, not just for your CrossFit center, right? But it's really applicable to business in general. If business owners are listening to this about how to build community, whether it's with your existing team or
Yes.
your clientele, oh my goodness, I think you've got a formula that works. So how do people reach out to you, whether they have questions about your process, whether they want to be a member, whether they want the what do you call it, the feeding program?
Functional feeding.
Functional feeding. I mean,
Functional feeding.
you got so many things here, but how do people find you? What's the best like next step for somebody?
Sure. So there's a number of ways. Again, so I'll give you a few. Our gym is KingWilliamDistrictCrossFit.com. King William District is a very old area of San Antonio that we're a part of. So we named it for the community we're in, KingWilliamDistrictCrossFit.com. On LinkedIn, you can find me. Again, Dan Kachtik, Kachtik. You can find me on LinkedIn. I also do a weekly YouTube show that's mainly for my members, but talking about all this, talking about community, talking about the programming. So Right On with Dan is the channel on YouTube. A lot of the episodes, I call it the devil's details, because I talk about the devil being in the details with everything we do, and you kind of got to get down into it. So that's kind of how that formed. And on Instagram as well, King William District CrossFit, you can find us on there. And myself and my wife are the ones running that. So when you reach out to us that way too, you're talking to me or you're talking to her.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. I will grab some of those, put them in the show notes, because I want people to be able to connect with you, because you've got something that's very different and I like it. Your community. I love where you said, I don't like a lot of automation, human human integration, right? And that's where it's made. And that's how you build community, which is what you're all about. That's what we as business owners need to be doing, is building communities with our team, with our audience, with our communities. And you get that stick factor that you've been able to figure out, that people stay around, they engage, and your business just grows over time. So, man, Dan, well done in what you're doing. Thanks for being my guest today and sharing your knowledge, your expertise with my audience. And just thanks for the way you're approaching what you do with just passion and heart and purpose. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you listening and giving me the chance to talk about this. I love doing it. So thank you very much.
You are welcome, brother. Thanks for listening to Experts Speak. Tune in again next week for another fantastic episode. Take care. God bless.